Welcome to the Fit2 Talk podcast.
You are listening to a guest episode during which we discuss the realities of a career in the performing arts with people who are fit to talk about them.
Yes. And if you like what we do, please leave us a review. Or on Spotify, click that follow button.
Also, if you like our meaningful, helpful, and accurate information, then you might want to be coached by us. Honestly, we do take it more seriously than this.
Yes, it's not pure chaos like this.
Fit2, we should explain. I normally get these wrong, but that's the only time I think you've got it wrong.
It's because I started off by laughing. Yeah. I made myself laugh before I even started the intro. So
Fit2 Perform is probably for you. If you want to level up your game, then that's the one.
That was my level up sound. You can find out more information about that on our website, fit-2.co.uk, or just chat to us on Instagram. We love a chat.
Indeed we do. Now, moving on, we have an incredible guest for you today.
Oh, by golly gosh, do we?
Yes.
Let me tell you about our guest today. So our guest today is currently starring as Mrs Doubtfire in the London production of Mrs Doubtfire, the musical. His previous credits include Little Miss Sunshine, Promises, Once, Chariots of Fire, La Cage aux Folles, Little Night Music, Cabaret, and he was also in the original cast of Avenue Q.
Yes, so many things. What a gent too. What a mind he has. It's a glorious thing, and so much experience and a wealth of talent. It's a lovely, lovely chat.
It's a lovely chat, and it's fascinating just talking to him about the demands of a show like Doubtfire. What a wild part to be playing, and like how do you deal with that? How do you prepare for that? And,
I didn't get a chance to do my Mrs Doubtfire impression for him.
No, you didn't.
So we'll do it now.
Yeah, do it now.
Please enjoy the wonderful Gabriel Vick.
It's Fit2 Talk.
Oh, yeah.
I need to keep the temperatures down if I'm wearing basically a piece of sack with another piece of sack on top of it.
Yes.
And then some padding in between the sacks.
Yeah, quite a bit of padding, right?
Yes.
And it's pretty hot backstage in that theatre anyway, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. I've got 2 rooms that are sort of adjacent dressing rooms, and it's just, I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to winter, put it that way. But
I've got loads of questions about that, but before we start, one of the things that we do with all our guests is ask them if they would be willing to try and tell us a lie during the recording. I'm not even warm.
No. Straight in.
I've got something planned.
Fantastic.
I like that.
When it gets to the end, we will tell you not to tell us if you've succeeded in lying or not, and we'll try and guess what we think the lie was. Lots of people forget to do it. So
most people
it might have just tipped over into the most category. So no worries if not. But jumping back to that, right? I've had the pleasure, let's say, of wearing padding for Trunchbull, and I was an understudy for that. So it wasn't all the time, and it was unbelievably hot, and then just got hotter through the show because you're sweating into it, and it also gets heavier. Now, obviously, you change 100 times in Mrs Doubtfire, right?
28.
just
a
small
it's not
28.
100, it's just 28. That's more changes than I think I've ever done in a show. Is that this Herculean task that's part of the piece?
I think that might be easier what I've got than what you're saying. Do you stay in Trunchbull and you stay in that the whole show?
Yeah.
I think I'd get moments of relief, to be honest. I think the longest I'm actually in it is about 16 minutes.
Oof.
God, that sounds so precise. I don't actually know.
I've timed it 16.21 minutes.
But it gets to a point in Act 2 where I've got at the end of those sort of 20 minutes, I'm sort of sitting with lovely Laura Tebbett, and she is singing a ballad, and I'm just sweating into and I know my next line's coming, and I can feel bits of sweat on the top lip, going, oh God, I'm just going to cover her in a second. And it's a really sensitive moment. That's as bad as it gets. So actually, it's not so bad. I've got to jump back into it in Act 2 at one point, and it's a wet one. It's like putting in your swimming trunks. After you've been in and you're cold. You're like, oh God. And then that subsides after about 5 seconds. You're like, all right, get on with it. You're back on.
Yeah, I've got stuff to do, and there's people looking at me. But I do find that people watching have no idea that that's just happened. That you're like, yeah, I'm deeply uncomfortable right now most of the time.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, you're not sweating at all. It's amazing. I'm like, what row were you on?
Yeah. You must not be in the splash zone.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I'm back down to my Daniel costume, back down to man, and even my contact lenses are misting up. I'm like, what is going on? And I have just about enough time to grab like an Andy Murray towel, a tennis towel, nice. And then I sort of stroke the water bottle at one point. Just go, we'll be together again soon.
We're so close.
Yeah, because they posted on the show's Instagram of a particular quick change that you do. They'd filmed it. Have you seen that?
I don't know which one it was.
It's a pretty rapid change. I think it's a full.
Is it into a pink outfit?
I don't remember. I think it was no.
Or is it the restaurant scene? I mean, the restaurant scene is there's several.
And on stage costume changes.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
just to help out. Yeah.
Part of it.
Then I'm just down to my pants, and if anything goes wrong, it's like, oh no.
I'm actually coming to see you in a few weeks, so I'm super excited.
Oh great! Oh right. You'll know all that. I'm going to give away everything, and then you'll be like, "Yeah, I know how that works." Yeah,
Laura's already told me. So,
and I've watched it, and it's fantastic. So,
I have seen it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so incredible. Yeah, but yeah,
there you go. Reviews are in.
There you go. Reviews are in. The official Fit.
It'd be so much fun. Imagine we were like, I didn't enjoy it. Actually,
yeah. Well,
you'd be like,
you're entitled to your opinion.
Like,
get out of here, Guardian reader.
Strong start.
And I'm muting you.
Was this the first job you got after COVID then? Because you did the one up north, didn't you?
Kind of. I mean, there's been bits and bobs. I mean, what do you mean by job? I mean, job is just existing, isn't it? At some point, we've got to do online conferencing at one point. Yeah. I did a pretty small gig. I think summer 21, and then this has been the main thing. But I just missed out on. What's this show? God, as if I Waitress. A fantastic part in Waitress, Dr. Pomater. And it was down to last two, and I thought, right, okay, it's been a dreadful year for everyone, but I think this is my part. I think I've got what it takes. And then they gave it to Matt from Busted.
Yeah.
And I was like, at that point, what's that? 21, end of 2020, I think. I just thought, well, is that it?
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have quit through the pandemic, but my God, I was close. I just thought, well, what am I getting out of this? You can't see a future. It was really, really difficult. But I hope I'm a story of, for some people, of hope, because sometimes there is a part just waiting out there that is exactly your skill set, and that's what I've been lucky enough to get here.
It's such a massive part too. But that exact sequence, we hear that more and more, right? And it's happened to me. You can definitely attest to this too, where you go, I'm in the finals, it's between me and somebody else. And if they just told you, if they said, by the way, just so you know, the other person is a celebrity, you'd go, okay.
I'm not turning up.
Yeah. Well, you're like, I get the choice that the producers are making, and more often than not now, you'd understand. You go, right, okay, I might not get my hopes up quite so far, because it's not somebody else in your scenario. It's not a quite perfectly even playing field in that sense. They're bringing something different to the table than you are at that point. Like, does that weigh on you at all? Like, it definitely weighs on me.
Well, I think, I've been on the other side. I haven't produced a lot of shows, but I've written a show, and I have, done bare bones producing, and I'm a bit more sympathetic to it. I imagine Waitress, the tour, made more money out of Matt being in it than me being in it. So I'm a realist in that way, but it can be infuriating. What's great about this is that they put that aside and they went, okay, who is the best person for this? And I think they did have a choice of celebrities, and I just happened to have that right skill set and energy that was required. So I hope maybe I won't have to battle that so much now. I mean, I haven't had it that much that a celebrity has, beaten me to a role, if you like. So yeah, I'm not too. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, it's okay. I feel like it's not that I think it's unreasonable. I completely agree. I think it's if I was producing a show and you go, well, these two people can do the job, but this one's got 100,000 fans that will probably come, who won't come otherwise. You go, oh, well, that's the decision you might make in that point if you don't think that the show's going to be different. So I just wonder, that feels to me like a lot of where a huge chunk of the industry has sort of travelled to.
Yeah, and what's great about Mrs Doubtfire, she's already the celebrity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've done some promo, and I'm literally dressed as an old granny on a bus. Yeah. People seem to recognise it, like that iconic haircut, maybe the way the hair is. But I'm like, it's literally just someone in a plaid skirt and a sweater, just waving. People seem to recognise it. So it was like being, something approaching royalty for a day. It was so funny. Yeah. So that's great. They didn't need, a celebrity in it. I was about to say Harry Styles. He'd never do it. But, doesn't need it. But you know what I mean? It didn't require that. So that was really, really lucky. She's sort of an automatic sort of fan base, if you like, even though it has been 30 years. I mean, I was just amazed. And I suppose the people who are buying tickets are the ones who grew up with the movie, where they were my age, 10, 13, watching the movie. Now they've got kids. Oh, what a great thing to take kids to. And now it is more family orientated than the film, because I watched the film back a few times, obviously, and I was like, oh, this is quite blue, isn't it? Some of the stuff in the restaurant is so naughty. There's quite a lot of sex aid jokes. But it is very funny.
The exec,
that's right. Yeah, I mean, there's. I think we did try and put it in the show, but something alluding to having a vibrator. He just one of his ad libs. I hope it's an ad lib. He's went, surprised she hasn't chipped a tooth. Yes. It's like it's an outrageous thing to say.
I actually watched it really recently. It was on TV, and I was like, it's one of those films I can't sort of turn off. I'm like, okay, I'm watching this now.
It's fantastic. It's iconic.
Well, my kids couldn't get into it. Really? I mean, the pacing of older films is interesting now. It takes about half an hour for them to get divorced, and it's a over 2 hour film. The musical takes about 7 minutes. We're like, right, get on with it. Get Laura out the way. Let's chuck the ring off. And let's get to the meat. Let's meet her as soon as possible. Yeah. I think that pacing is better because my kids didn't. I mean, they didn't finish it. Wow. And I was like, even the bit with the pie in the face, I was like, huh? Looking at them for a reaction, huh? And then nothing. I was like, oh, geez.
It's the worst crowd ever, right? If you're doing stand-up, you're like, really? Go on.
Well, your own family,
I've got a confession to make. I've never done this on the podcast as well.
I'm intrigued.
I first came across you as I went to drama school. And it's because of a song that you sang, and it was on YouTube at the time in 2007.
Oh, God, I love that song. I know which one you mean.
Called The Sensitive
Song. Which is the Legally Blonde team, isn't it?
Yes, from Cops. And it's this song, right? And I watched... I was asked to sing it at a cabaret. I'd never heard of this thing. I was like, what the hell? And they gave me your video of you singing that at this thing. And then I watched it and learnt it from that with the sheet music. And so ever since then, I've sort of, I know who you are. And if anyone doesn't know that song, which will be the majority of people, want to tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, God, that was the only song to sing like in about 2005. My friend Nick sang it at drama school. He got it in like the agent showcase. But, we all knew it was great because it's sort of, a misleading song where you think it's a love song and then it's all about him dumping this girl because he's found someone better. Yeah. And the tagline is, that's why I'm dumping you, bitch. Yeah. And it's very, very irreverent and got key changes and it's just ludicrous. But there's loads of fun you can have with it. And I was doing Avenue Q at the time, so I found that, I thought it really fitted in with that kind of irreverent, quite spiky humour.
Favourite line of that song? I'm sorry she's your sister, but you're still a skanky whore. That's it.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
And I found the sweeter you could sing it, the better. The sweeter you sing skanky whore, the funnier it is.
It is like now. Obviously, you might, if somebody wrote that now, you might go, "Oh, I'm not sure," but it's not offensive. It's just irreverent, as you say, and very, very, very funny. So yes, that's how I first ever heard of you, and since then followed. Yeah, you just said your original cast of Avenue Q, right? That was we both saw that.
Yes, we did.
I was at Swing then, and I was 23, just out of college, and really excited. And I couldn't, and the writers, they were saying, oh yeah, we're working with Trey Parker and Matt Stone on this show about Mormons. I was like, wow, this is just fantastic. So London was my oyster, but if we're here to talk about fitness was not part of it at that point. It was all M&Ms and drinking till all hours and just partying and eating before the show, having a 3-course meal before I got to the theatre to sit on my bum, I just had a wonderful, wonderful time, and it was more about hedonism than anything else. But yeah, very exciting to be part of, this brand new show coming in, and Wicked was in there, and Spamalot was coming out. God, it was great. I watched It's a Sin recently. I know it's a completely different sort of a setup, but it certainly felt like that same wide-eyed, London is this new playground, and I'm going to go and play in it and enjoy myself. And that's certainly how it felt. Much like the character Princeton, he's just like learning about life, and it was exactly that. So, yeah, it was very, very exciting.
I love that. That was exactly my experience, right? Because you're basically from London, and I was coming from a small town outside Cardiff, and went to London, and I ended up in the same. Sounds like a very similar place to you, which was essentially going, wow, this is awesome, and what can I eat and drink, and what can I find to do? And it was fantastic. And at the same time, you go, maybe this isn't the most healthy thing I'm doing, but it was brilliant. When you were doing that show then, so you were at Swing On and you're going, did you feel like you could go out and party all the time? Because you could.
Well, I have a story about that. So I did. I was dating the leading lady, Julie, and actually, no, I shouldn't mention it. What I will say is...
We can cut it afterwards if you want to.
Yeah. What I will say is I went out on the weekend as a swing, and then on Sunday kept the party going. I was drinking, but I knew I was on as the lead role. And on Monday I went in, and it was a little hoarse, my voice. And of course, Cameron McIntosh watched the show. And
just your luck, yeah.
I really didn't do myself any favors there, because he came back and he said, "You're a great actor, but you need to, your voice needs work."
Yeah.
And it's because I was absolutely, knackered it out.
Yeah.
But I really regretted that, because you never know. He's especially someone who can just turn up. I've heard another. I'm not sure. One of these. The rumor about the woman in the mousetrap escaping. But this one was about a guy who was always trying to get his same train at night.
Yeah,
he would not do the curtain call.
Yeah.
And then one night he was going down the staircase and Cameron was there and saw him and fired him on the spot. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it's one of those. Right? Make sure you stay for the curtain call. I think
But on the plus side, if Cameron saw you again during that run, he's like, that guy's really taken my advice. He has worked on his voice. Look at it now. All right. He's there going, I just give people advice and they just flourish. Maybe you created Cameron McIntosh now. From that moment, he truly believed that he could
have the power.
Yeah, he's literally just walking around like, you have some advice. You have some advice.
Well...
It's not
some people
badly.
are worth listening to, and he's probably one of them.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have much to say in the industry. He only owns like half the theatres.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Not enough in my book.
Yeah, how many counts as a monopoly?
I don't actually know what actually qualifies. I suppose it's got to be like over 60%, surely.
I don't know. But whether Cameron McIntosh has a theatre monopoly is I suppose not the
It's up for debate.
How long did that sort of feeling last for then? That sort of London's my oyster, hedonism, let's just go nuts and enjoy it. Till now.
It's still going.
About 2 years. I was lucky, and I was maybe got a little bit complacent. I leapt from job to job. I went into cabaret, and I was like, I had my hair bleached blonde, and I was playing the trumpet. And I remember this dresser sort of summed up the job. It came into knocked on my dresser and went, "Gabe, your swastikas on your music stand." Thank you.
You're like, this is weird.
Yeah. Well, I was used to it by then. So, I could get away with it and then sing this beautiful "The sun on the meadow, his summer river," and just pop that out every night and still party. And then I got this part in Dickens Unplugged, which was like the Reduced Shakespeare company, but for Dickens. Mm. And I thought, well, I've made it. I was like, I was Dickens. I was on the poster. We were going into the Comedy Theatre, which is now the Pinter.
The Pinter,
yeah.
That's the name. It was like 2 days ago, yesterday we were trying to go, what was that theatre called?
Pinter
before?
It was not.
The
comedy, there you go. That's what it is.
Thank you.
Well, obviously the audience didn't agree because we lasted 5 weeks. And I thought that was me made then. So around about that time, I was, I sort of cleaned up my act a bit, and then I got Little Night Music at the end of that, 2008, and that was a huge huge job. And I just weirdly focused on the next thing I'd really like to do is a small part in a Sondheim show. And it just landed. I don't know how that happened. But that was a great gig because most of that cast have gone on, they're all greats. And John Addison was in it as well. Yeah. And I saw John not long ago. But, Jessie Buckley, Hannah Waddingham, Kaiser's now a pilot in Hijack with Idris Elba. Yeah. Maureen Lipman. There was just some fantastic people.
Some people we've never heard of, really.
Yeah, just some small names.
Yeah. Just like not an incredibly famous lineup now.
So then, and then I don't know, it sort of seemed to dip after that. And I just, I don't know what happened really. I was sort of felt like I was on a trajectory, and then it kind of stalled for a few years. And I had some nice jobs, but never the break that I was looking for. I remember auditioning for Sunny Afternoon, being really frustrated. I was like, I want to be Ray Davies. I'm like, I'm not Ray Davies. There's no way I'm the casting type. But, I remember that feeling of frustration in 2015. I'd seen peers and friends getting Olivier Awards, and getting these parts, and just thinking, that there was a lot of frustration back then. And I went to Tottenham and just found this recording studio like this, just belting into it, belting, trying to get my voice better, just working so hard and like beating my head against the wall, really, to no real avail. I don't know what the moral of that story is. I worked, and it made no difference.
But I suppose, do you look back at that now and go, well, it did make a difference because of where you are now, or do you still feel like that's not the case?
I think I was trying to be something I wasn't.
Okay.
Right. I'm not a pop belter. I'm not. I just got to accept that. And I think that, that's one of those things. I just had to come to that realization and accept it, and then reassess what my skill set was. So I'm just lucky that skill set has translated into this part. I mean, I honestly don't know where I'd be if I hadn't got Doubtfire. I really don't.
Would that? Do you think? Because you mentioned before, actually, that that COVID time ended up being a little darker than we would have liked. But then you go, if I didn't have Doubtfire, do you think you would have still stuck it out and auditioned, or do you think perhaps you might have looked elsewhere? You mentioned conferencing earlier on, but
it wasn't enticing. Actually, just shortly before Doubtfire, I did look at my skill set and reassess again, quite in quite a formal way. I used a life coach, and they helped me just distill my character and like who I am and what kind of world do I want to live in? How do I contribute to that vision? So these are all exercises that I did, and I went with it, and actually I came out largely the same place to where I was, and I started to write a show about self-help, which was a comedy show, and it was me on a keyboard, and I've got like 40 minutes of it written, and it really made me chuckle. And then Doubtfire audition landed on my lap. So, but I don't know, it just woke something up in me, that playfulness, that experimentalness. So when I auditioned for Doubtfire, I had all the confidence to try these voices. So they had put 4 voices on the audition sheet, do Yoda, do Borat, do Trump and something else. And I went, right, well, I'm just going to hit them with as many voices as I've got, because I love it and it's funny. And so I started doing all sketches based on these impressions, and they loved that, and they could see the playfulness of it. And that was exactly what the character is like. He just goes off in a direction. That's how the show starts now, is with lots of different voices. So I don't know whether that work just helped me put me back onto that track, really. Otherwise, I'd probably be in the vaults or doing something with a keyboard, something pretty wacky. And then I saw Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan did Stratagem, which was basically the same show. And I was like, oh, damn, but he's got, 20 years of experience on top of that. And it was really funny because, again, it was about self-help and how it's all... you can get yourself in a right twist with it all, because he basically ousts it all at the end. He says, I don't know, it's just made up. Start a gem. It's just like, he just uses anagrams from it and stuff. But that's in front of 16,000 people in the O2, But I don't know. I thought I had something different, and I might still go back to it. I don't know. There's a freedom that comes with now, the confidence as well that comes with that, with this role. It's like, okay, I could try something and it's my own voice. So yeah, good question. But yeah, that's probably where you'd find me.
I'm excited by that because we're huge proponents of things like life coaches, mindset coach, and therapists, etc. Everything, whatever works for people. And life coach. So I've just got a life coach qualification, so I'm qualified now. But it's one of those things that people often haven't heard of or don't know what they do. So to hear your story of how that was useful for you and relevant to our industry, and actually managed to reframe that for you and go, oh, here's what I can provide and what I do really well, or the world I want to live in, as you said. You're like, I think that's really inspiring.
I found that more positive. I'd done a lot of therapy, and I would use a therapist again. And very recently I used one, but I did find it quite retrospective and trying to learn from the past. And I did it a lot, so I didn't want to, keep dragging things up. I thought, okay, I want to look at the future and what do I want so that I can move on and away, having, whilst learning from whatever my particular baggage is, what do I actually want to do? So I found it quite a positive experience in terms of, how to change your life for the future. So yeah, I'd be an advocate of it. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes. I need to. They emailed me my certificate. I would have had to pay money to get them to actually send me the real actual one. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So
I'll just print that out. Don't you worry.
You know, like when you get normal qualifications, I'm like, I'll pay for that. But now I'm like, nah, I don't need the paper thing.
What time to be alive? Just printing out qualifications.
Yeah. Oh no, you still got to get it. Like, it was legit. It's not like just one I made up on Photoshop. Can you imagine? You are now a life coach. Print.
I feel like we should get like random qualifications and put them up all over the sack wall. But that would be great if we just had so many different qualifications.
Fake ones or
fake
ones?
Oh, fake ones.
Okay.
100% fake ones.
Okay. Should we have awards that the podcast has won?
100%. Yeah. With the actual trophies. I want trophies on this desk.
I feel like we could do that. Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
I
want to lean into this.
And maybe we'll get you to present the award, Gabriel. At the end of this, you can present it.
Sorry, just move those trophies out of the way.
This is a weird segue, but you mentioned baggage from previous, but we haven't even talked about where you're from or where you grew up. So hit us with that. Where did this all begin?
I was about to be very inappropriate and say I came from war-torn Bath in the West Country.
That's not very inappropriate. But you're allowed to swear on this podcast too, so that's based on some other episodes.
I think I prefer to swear than insult other people who've actually been in a war-torn country. Yeah, I'm from the West Country, from Bath, and I was a chorister when I was young. When I was 11, I went and auditioned. My mum spotted my talent back then. I've been in Oliver just before that at school, and she could hear that I could sing. So I went there, and the choir master was like, yeah, I'd love to have you in my choir. But 11's quite old. Like, you're nearly going to lose your voice soon. So I did 2 or 3 years there. I was so proud of it. I absolutely loved it. And I was quite a proud Christian, actually. It was probably a bit pompous. But that was the start of 8 shows a week, if you like, because it was, I can't remember, Monday to Sunday, you do every day apart from one.
Yeah.
But it was in church. No one clapped afterwards.
Finish a great number, a wonderful Agnus Dei or whatever it is. Then everyone's like, yeah, let's move on.
And silence.
Come on.
So that was a lot of my singing training. That's how I learned how to sight read and got really good musical training. And then through my youth, I went back to Bath. They chucked me out of Wells when I not lost my voice, but when my voice broke and I wasn't talented enough to get another scholarship because they half the fees like there when you're in the choir. But then I was quite an average student at Wells. I mean, they're all amazing musicians there. It's, they all get beaten at rugby, and no one wants to harm their fingers. So then I went back to school in Bath, and then on to Oxford Oxford University. I mean, I really wanted to be an actor from 11. I used to go around the house pretending to be Macaulay Culkin. And I told my mum then, I said, I want to go to drama school.
Were you laying traps for your mum?
yeah. That might have swayed her, actually.
She's like, you go off you go.
It's like, you stop with the cling film and the freaking maple syrup.
Every postman that comes around here hates you. Stop it.
So dangerous.
Yeah, the blowtorch on her head was maybe a bit far.
So then you got into famous Oxford. What were you studying there?
I didn't want to do music because I heard it was going to be quite dull, and I was going to sing in the choirs there, you see. And it was quite a serious job there. So I wanted to do something that was really interesting. So I did psychology and philosophy. Philosophy was really hard, but psychology was fun because it was like
people, right?
Yeah. Well, it was just a new science, and you could, it was, everything. They were doing research about mobile phones at the time and driving. I thought, God, this is really relevant and really up to date. And then philosophy was like, the British imperialists of the 1800s, what did they believe happened? And by the way, there's one buried right by you where you sing. I was like, oh my God, they are. But I found Oxford quite a struggle because I didn't, it was very academic and it was all over really quick, like terms of 8 weeks or something.
Oh, wow.
And I was singing the whole time, and then I would want to go out partying. It's like Tuesday night, I want to go clubbing, or I joined the football team. The Thirds football team, and it got so bad. I mean, I was like shouting, "Pass to me, pass!" And I was losing my voice. And it got to the point. The choir master was so strict; he was absolutely terrifying. And I mean, he used to like stop the choir and go, "What are you doing, Mr. Vick?" Like in front of the boys, like there's like 12-year-old boys. He's like, "What are you doing, Mr. Vick? You should be checking the music before you come in here, and not just guessing." And it got to the point once. It was so he knew I was playing football, and he came to the pitch. And he said, I was like shouting my head off, like kicking the balls, like I just like lobbed this thing into the, off the pitch for a free kick or something. And he was standing there and he just goes, "Mr. Vick, don't you think you should be in church?" I was like, oh my God. So I left the football field.
Wow.
Because he knew I was losing my voice, and he completely busted me. So yeah, it was a pretty intense experience. But over time, I started to do loads of shows at Oxford, and I started to meet much more lefty people, and I found my people. And he got more lenient, and he started to let me leave the choir and not be there the whole time, because he was very, very serious about it all. And that was my happy place. And then I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I auditioned for the Academy, the Royal Academy of Music. I didn't want to spend any longer training. I didn't want to do 3 years. I'd already done 3 years plus a gap year teaching at Portsmouth Grammar School. So I was like, I want to get on with this. And it's the same course Laura did, same course John Addison did, really, really well run. And it was the one to go to. So yeah, I didn't look back really. Got into that. I've still got friends for life from that course, and it was only 9 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got more friends from that year than I probably have from the entire university.
Sometimes you get these groups, right, where just with that teaching staff at that moment in time, in that place, and the collection of people, where they sort of just capture some fire in a bottle in that moment, and then you look at, that whole group of people, and you're like, wow, that created an environment for a whole bunch of people to flourish. Because from that year with Laura, like I know a fair few of those people that were with you, and yeah, not only are they all fantastic singers, it's preposterous, but like the level of success, it's surely not possible that the years below and above you have.
You weren't there. You were there.
I wasn't there. Oh. I wasn't there. No. You're like, have I forgotten you? No, no. I do feel a little similarity with that, with the drama school I went to Central, and there were 15 of us, and realistically, with that group of people, compared to, not that you should compare, but compared to the group above for 3 or 4 years and below for 3 or 4 years, the success rate of that bunch was just remarkable, and it had this crossover of staff in that moment where we had like this huge influx and this wonderful, lots and lots of wonderful information, and then a whole bunch left, and a whole new bunch took over. And I don't know whether it's because of that or because of the group of people that were there, but something worked for that time to result in the outcome that they've had with a bunch of people in Hollywood. And
really,
yeah, craziness. Like,
I spoke to a friend of mine. She went to Lambda after she did Oxford, because we're kind of contemporaries, and she did another 3 years. And I said, was it worth it? What did you learn? She was like, to be honest, she said, I don't think many people got much better at acting in the whole 3 years. She said, you can either do it or you can't. I was like, gosh, I've been thinking about that this summer, because I was like, how much have I actually? There's lots of technical things I've learned and how to get through the show and things like that. But in terms of really, how do I emote? I don't know how much I've actually learned.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's terrifying as well. It's like, can you get better? Because we're quite snooty in this country about going to classes after you train. Like, I've never been to the Actors Centre more than a couple of times.
Mm. It's odd, isn't it? Like British people, we don't people go to dance class, but like dancers are sort of they're like, you should keep practicing this. And then in America, they're fantastic at going to acting classes and keeping up their practice. And here, as you said, we're a bit snooty, we're a bit like, oh, I don't need that. I've learnt. I already know.
Or I don't know how to do it, or whether it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was watching the cogs turn there.
I think I've always been quite confused by like acting classes kind of outside of college. And I go, I've always gone, I don't want to be like found out that I'm an absolute fraud. I don't want to go to this class and everyone be like, this guy is terrible. How is he working? And I'm like, off I go. Like, I think for me, the fear is genuine. And I have fear about like going to dance class and I go, I don't want to be found out. I don't want to be the one they go, oh, he's terrible. And I think that says more about me than anything. But
I'm a terrible dancer and I have no trouble going to a dance class because I know I'll be terrible. So it's okay. Like there's no pressure, there's no expectation.
Like I can just go be terrible and it's fantastic.
Like I'm going to be the worst there, so I'm definitely going to probably get the most out of it. Like of those people.
Yeah. I think it's different now as well, particularly when loads of dance classes are filmed, and I think that's the one.
Who's
for me.
filming dance classes?
Oh,
everyone.
All dance classes are filmed now. And
why?
Instagram.
It's for Instagram.
TikTok.
It's just
That's terrifying.
And I hate it.
They film the routine at the end.
Always.
I mean, but even now, sometimes I have this. I find this really an interesting development with rehearsals for a show. Like they'll film now a section of rehearsals in order to promote the show, or they'll get you to do a number in the rehearsal room or whatever it might be. And you're like, I haven't figured this out yet. Like this is part of my process. Like I'm meant to be ready to do this by opening night. And you're asking me to do this on day 4.
And it's going straight on YouTube. And you're like, oof.
And it's going to exist forever. I'm like, there's only so much work you can do in advance until a director goes, yeah, I actually want you to do it completely different to what you've prepped. And you're like, cool.
As a tool, I think videoing is fantastic. I videoed myself a lot auditioning for Doubtfire. I watched it back and I looked at what I was doing, how I was delivering it, what was funny, what wasn't, and I would change it. Same with rehearsals. We did video a lot, but it was for our own use so that we could get better. I guess when they're putting it out, they know it's not going to look terrible, but yeah, it's a bit strange. I mean, I think the 10 years between me and the next generation in my cast, it's a slightly different world. They all know how to work. I feel like a grandpa on Instagram. I really don't know how to work the damn thing. Twitter's suspended me for no good reason. Someone hacked my account and they said, you've been evading suspension. I'm like, what are you talking about?
How do I evade suspension?
Their reason for suspending me is to evade, because I've been evading suspension. I'm like, but you've suspended me. So this seems very circular.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, I've given up on it anyway because I don't find it particularly... It's not that healthy anymore, is it? And Elon Musk's being a bit of an idiot about it also.
Yeah. Not even called Twitter anymore, is it?
So I'm on Instagram. Yes, Mrs D calls it. So yeah, I'm learning about that. But yeah, it's interesting how much people are taking pictures, videoing, doing memes, funny little bits and things. I think, God, is this life now, is it? Because, it's a bit of a foreign language to me.
Yeah. I definitely feel like that with TikTok, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that you're describing, like when people film like a 20-second thing and then they put it on TikTok, but they'll do it with like some audio from some other thing on it. And I'm like, I don't know how or why this happened. And when I see the other one, I'm like, that's funny. But I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make it on TikTok. This is outing myself as a really terrible on social media too. But like Instagram, I can kind of get, because I'm like, it's a picture or a video of something, usually pretty clearly direct. But TikTok is like a new level of editing or manipulation.
I spent an afternoon on TikTok just going, okay, what are people doing? And yeah, like you said, it's never their own voice. They're always kind of lip syncing to something, whether it's dialogue or a song. and they'll be doing a menial task, or they'll be doing something that's, you know, a magic trick or something, and then there'll be a twist at the end and it's over. Yeah. That was kind of the formula of it. I'm thinking, do I want to be spending my life doing this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
but obviously, you know, everyone's a lot of young kids are doing it, but it's not for me at the moment.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyone listening to this now is like, God, those guys are old.
Yeah.
And we are.
Yeah, we are. TikTok is, somebody described this on the podcast I was listening to, said that TikTok is essentially like the new Google, in that everybody goes on there to find out information. You go, oh, how do I change a light bulb? How do I change a light bulb? TikTok is the best place to go for this kind of stuff.
What?
Life hacks.
Life hacks. Anything to do, any kind of life hacks, any kind of instructions. Apparently, like, it's
not YouTube.
Way superior to the YouTube. And because at the end of the day, like, if you think about a YouTube video, if you go, how do I change the battery in my car? Yeah. I don't know, rogue choice.
Good luck.
It'll be, in my electric car, this is going to be a struggle. It takes like a 10-minute video. TikTok, it's going to be like 60 seconds long, but it's going to have the same amount of information. It's like people are like, all these tech podcasts and tech magazines are like, TikTok is the future of Google. It's like the new search engine.
Wow.
So yeah.
I refuse to accept it.
So do I.
I will stick to the old ways.
I learned cello, you know, from YouTube, like in 2008. I thought I was being very down with the kids then, I guess. But then I was in my 20s. You know, so it's a brilliant tool. But yeah, isn't TikTok just sort of superficial and daft? I mean, the actual useful life hacks, I don't even believe anything I see on there anymore. Do you know what I mean? People are very clever. There's that one with the counters and they're all red and yellow and they're different colors and then they settle in the right place. And people are like, you know, it's just been docked and I'm not sure what to believe here. I guess the whole point is just to be amused.
Yes, yeah. Well, that is the chemical thing, right? That's the reason the short form content is so popular, is because we literally get a hit from that thing, and then after that period of time, it's done. There's a reason stories on Instagram were 15 seconds long for a period of time. So you get that little hit, you go by being sort of titillated for a moment, and then immediately on to the next, because we're constantly stimulated in that way. It learns how to keep you watching. It also learns what you stop watching and stops showing you it. So that's how the algorithm's amazing.
I'm going to check what I've got, because there's some seriously weird stuff. It's either like really muscly men.
Is that what comes up?
Yeah. I don't know what I've been looking at. But
you've been going, here's my fitness transformation, and that's what is...
You're like, I'm going to stick on this picture. There we go, fine.
Buff Graham.
It is interesting kind of what you're doing.
Why tattoo? I'm not into tattoos at all. Tattoos. Okay. Maybe I want one and I don't know I do.
And TikTok knows you better.
It's convinced. Well, this is the thing.
It's either scantily clad women or scantily clad men, so I don't know what that says about me.
It knows. It just knows. Well, this is, you know, when you have this thing where people are like, your phone's listening to you.
You're either attracted to women or men. That's not a clever algorithm, is it?
Tattooed people.
Tattooed women or men. You actually, we were chatting about this before you came on, but you went through a pretty drastic fitness transformation in order to get to Doubtfire, right? Or maybe perhaps not in order, but before Doubtfire, you went, right, let's get myself into...
Okay, strap in, kids. So here we go. This is the actual Fit2 part of it. Yeah, I've got this big break. I'm aware of how big this part is. And like Hamilton said, I'm not giving up my shot.
Yeah.
So I went pro with it. I mean, I went to Manchester first last year, but I lived like a monk. So, you know, it's like, you're not drinking, you're not doing, you're sleeping and you're drinking water. That's about it. And you're going to eat as much as you need, as much as you want. I treated it very seriously. You know, and it paid dividends. So we got through the 4 weeks, but I lost weight. I've made this up, but 4 kilos. I wasn't weighing myself very regularly. Now I weigh myself every day. But having got to the end of that, and there's a few photos with Laura at the end, and I've got like hollow cheeks, and everyone's like, oh yeah, you're starting to waste weight. And I've seen it. I've seen it with leading men that I've been in the show, and they've just dropped the weight with just the athletic endeavor of repeating this. So yeah, I went pro. I decided, I spoke to friends who'd been in the West End and sustained a performance for over a year, and they advised me to go with an online personal trainer. And that's really worked for me. That sort of changed the way I think about day-to-day life. And it's sort of my new area of study at the moment. So in January is when I signed up, give myself plenty of time before we started in April. So 3 months to get used to this. One of the first things was MyFitnessPal app. Log everything you eat. What? No, log everything. Everything?
Yeah.
Water? Yes. And that took me 2 weeks to sort of go, this is insane, isn't it? Like everything that goes in my mouth. Or consume. So that took a bit of getting used to, and I try to be plant-based as well. So that was, starting to get the protein in there. I had no idea. I was just eating rice cakes with Nutella in the first run of Doubtfire Manchester. Like, I'm a bit hungry. I can eat whatever I like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I exhausted? Popcorn. I mean, that is the worst. It gets stuck in your throat. It was like, no, don't have popcorn. But I was just guessing. I was resting well, but I lost weight and I was eating all the time and I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
No powders. I think I bought my first bag of protein powder at the end of that run, towards the end of that run. But yeah, I've learned so much about nutrition, first of all. So, and batch cooking and how to get the protein in there with lentils, with all the squeaky bean. I've just bought eight of these little packets. So
squeaky bean.
This is a squeaky bean Cajun mini fillet. So we have 23 grams per 100 grams. That's the same as beef or, chicken. These little babies, God knows what's actually in it. Vegetable protein, wheat, pea protein, yeah. So it's quite highly processed. So I always steer clear of this stuff. I was quite sort of, let's eat whole foods and oats and all of that, and I'll have some tofu, but nothing over processed. I've now moved to eating a lot more processed stuff to help with the muscle repair and recovery. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into what Martin's done. It was Martin Burguy Fitness. I don't mind dropping his name. He's worked with great people in the West End, and he just starts off with what are your goals. And my goal was stamina. Energy is the currency I'm interested in. I'm not interested in bulking up or being aesthetically buff. So we set about those goals, and he gave me a training regime, and I'm only doing strength training because cardio I didn't really need. I'm running around on stage, so I'm only doing 3 strength training a week. So I bought myself some adjustable dumbbells, and he's got me this regime, and it's really sorted me out. Doing lots of leg work. I had knee problems, and I'm getting old. I'm past 40 now. I'm like, well, I want to make sure I'm not off the show because I'm, I've hurt something, because there's a bit of naff breakdancing, and I tried to do this one move, and I gave up on it in the end. It's like, it's not worth it for my whole show just to try and do 5 seconds. So yeah, I do 3 workouts a week. I log my weight every day. I drink a sort of, you can see here it is. It's like a posh Barocca. It's branch amino acids, I think, in here.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know all this, but I take supplements. So, cod liver oil equivalent. It's algae. It's horrible.
Yeah. So it's cod liver oil. So to me,
cod liver oil's great.
What else in the morning? Vitamin D.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, it's magnesium with some ashwagandha to help me calm down when I'm on the way. So I take that at the theatre.
I was going to say, ashwagandha's magic. It's relatively only recently have studies been done into this, like maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, and for that outcome. So how are you finding using that?
Honestly, I don't know the difference, but I'm like, it's I don't feel stressed. It's supposed to help with you not feeling stressed, and certainly through the difficult period of previews, it really helped with that. I could just go home, having taken it about just after 10, and then be able to fall asleep. Yeah. I also found out, look, here's the Aura ring. So I've got a tracker.
He's got an Aura ring. Excellent.
So I got this off Martin for free because he wasn't really using it. Unfortunately, it only fits my marriage finger, so it makes me look like I'm not available anymore. So, or married to my fitness. Yeah. But that's been useful for tracking sleep, particularly. But it's much more accurate with the steps. But again, I'm not worrying too much about the steps, but 10,000 a day I was doing before I started the show. So that monitors my sleep. So I know my chronotype is like, it's best that I go to bed at about 20 past 11. But I can change it up. Like my body's able to do that, but that is the optimum time. So that's been, something else I've learned. I didn't do it last night, but I don't get a sleep score. It's really annoying. Like, I don't get obsessed with it. It is a tool. I don't let it rule me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, my kids have got these bands and they're like running around the house. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm trying to get my steps up. He wants to beat his brother. This has gone too far. You're fine. Don't worry. 6 years old worrying about doing 10,000 steps. So I'm trying to use it as a guide rather than it weighing me down, which I was really conscious of. And again, with the app, I'm on like 3,000 calories a day at the moment. And I've got a breakdown of the macros, so protein, carbs and fat. And that is a guide to me every day. And it's so useful. I know if I've had a drink, it's like empty calories. And I'm finding places to have those, to have alcohol and enjoy myself. But I'm being very, very sporadic with that because it doesn't really help me. It slows recovery. I don't feel great the next day. And I heard John Addison talking a bit about this, and he's right. It is much easier if I go clean for the whole week, but I do want to enjoy my life, and I do want to have the work-life balance. I've now got into a routine where I'm comfortable that I could probably have a drink on a Saturday night, and possibly Sunday as well. But then, getting back into Monday, it's like back on the regime, training on Monday, and being clean, loads of water. I'm drinking like 3.5 litres of water.
It's handy that you've got Laura with you as well, who's also permanently drinking water.
Yeah, she's great. And she's introduced me to Squeaky Bean. So just thanks to her. So I'm finding these little cheats and how to get the protein into my curries that used to just be veggie curries. So very, very, plenty of carbs and a bit of protein, but very protein light. Now I'm finding that you shove the lentils in there, or you shove the shawarma kebab that they have, or corn mince is all right. These aren't particularly tasty, but most things is about seasoning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batch cooking's so great, so I know it's there. It's in the fridge. I rarely go out between shows because I have the food in the fridge. So I'm like, okay, that frees me up to go, okay, I can just sit there and lie down and fall asleep. Because people do come up to me after the show and go, you must be knackered. How are you getting through this? And I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm being so dedicated is the word.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It's a job of a lifetime. I'm not giving away my shot. I'm working really hard. This is my 13th week on the show and I've not missed a show. And I'm proud of that. And there's been a couple of hairy moments, where the voice has got tired. I mean, that's another thing I can't do much about with my body, but it's all about rest. I mean, sleep is just a massive thing. If you've got that, then you're there. If you've got 2 kids and they're waking you up at 7, and that 7 is like, that's late for them. They're like, Dad, we've waited until 7. You said 7. I said, why didn't I say 8? Why didn't I say 9? But that, there's that. So I've just had them the last week. That's been very, very challenging living with me and trying to do this show. So no alcohol at all those weeks and trying to get down as soon as I get home. It's possible and it's reaping dividends because, the show's had some lovely reviews. As I say, I'm feeling stronger. I'm in best shape of my life, better than when I was in Avenue Q. I look quite trim, quite buff for a downtrodden 40-year-old, actor in it. But, the producers were very good about it. They said, whatever you need to replicate the performance, don't worry too much about having the dad bod. Because I didn't want to eat a load of extra fat on top of it just to have a car. I was like, well, I don't look ridiculous. I don't look really like built up. I just look healthy.
Yeah.
So, it's really reaped dividends.
I really love everything you just said.
I was going to say the exact same thing. It just led into so many things that we talk about on the podcast. The way you refer to everything as a tool, and it was just great.
All of those things as tools, but also that you said I'm only doing 3 sessions a week. That's exactly what we think is pretty ideal, like perfect dose for people in a really strenuous, tough role in a show, like whatever that might be, whether you're doing ensemble in Cats, which is going to be physically rough, or this, like, which is exactly the same category. Like, that's loads of work, and that will get you that result. And I hope you don't mind me saying, but you sent me like pictures at the start of that process and at the end, and it's a hell of a transformation. So kudos to you on that. It's and
I look at the beginning photo, and it's not like
you look great.
It's not slim fast. It's I look fine.
Yeah,
I look. I was running loads. I didn't really do much. I didn't do any weight training. Didn't have anything like that.
Lots of people would kill to look like that.
Yeah. So but what it's done is it's just that old cliche, made me my best self. But it is. I'm like. I've heard that I've got a reputation now as a machine, and that's exactly what I want it to be. Like, yeah, it is a machine. Today, I told myself just to do the workout. I didn't particularly want to do it, and it is boring. At times, it is boring. It's just me grabbing a couple of heavy things and dipping on one leg, doing reverse lunges, and it can be quite dull. But it's just made me not have to worry about the demands of the show, and it's given me more energy. And yeah, it's lovely to look nice. Yeah. It is. So yeah, I don't know what's useful for you, but I go through I know that all came out a little bit hodgepodge, but sometimes I think, I'll take you through the whole day, like what I'm taking, what I'm eating, and all of that. But
to be honest,
it can change. And like, I didn't train the whole week with the kids. I was like, do you know what? I need my energy. I'm not going to spend my time going, kids, you watch YouTube while I lift these weights. It's like, no, there's better things to do. So I don't let it rule me. I can, I think I had 2 caramel wafer bars when I got in last night. I thought, okay, well, yes, I'll have to take that off today. It's you, like you say, tool, but not rule. Oh, there you go.
That's going in.
We love that. That's official.
Tool, but not rule, quotation marks, Gabriel Vick.
But Martin's been really good about that. He said, look, there's no you cannot.
Yeah.
It's just, and it gives you autonomy then.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what Martin's saying. He's saying, look, let's do a year. What I want is for you to learn. You don't need me.
Yeah.
Or like for the odd, change of. But I was going to change the workout as well. I was like, look, I've been doing this for 4 months. Can I change it? And they were like, well, why? Like, if it's working for you, is there any particular reason apart from boredom? I was like, not really. So if it's working for you, why change it? You can up the weights a bit, if you like. But in terms of what you're doing, it's an all body. I don't have a leg day or anything. We're always just doing
full body.
Full body. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what. I'm treating him like God at the moment. So I'm not questioning too much what he's doing. But
so far, why I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't question anything. So far, it's like exactly all the things that we believe, really.
What did you say, full body?
So exactly like you're doing. So instead of having a split where you're going, on the first
day,
workout, I do legs, and then I do push-up all, or I do my chest and my triceps on this day, you kind of hit every muscle group, every session. And for performers, that makes so much more sense, because if you do a leg day and you're like, right, I've just done 5 different exercises on my legs, good luck doing the show.
Yeah, then you crawl onto the stage.
Excellent. Or you go, or I've just done my chest and my triceps, and then in the show you've got to lift your arms up, and you're like, it's going to affect your performance.
But we had that. I'm not going to name who it was, but this guy, I knew he'd done a leg day, and then he had to get on because we've got a gym scene in it.
Yes.
And he had to be on the bike, and I was just looking. I turned up stage and like, enjoying that. Even the simple act of just doing that, he was knackered. Like, yeah, because it's all about being dynamic, isn't it? Being able to, I never want to be built like that, because I see like the bouncer bill. You think, good luck running anywhere.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
we need function
over more, more than 20 yards.
Yeah.
Like, I never want to be like that. I just want to be healthy, and I hope I can continue it. If I was out of work, I'd probably have to do cardio on the other days.
Yeah,
I really hope I have it's keeping that. It's easier now because I've got such a big goal. It's so hard, isn't it, when you're out of work or looking for work, or auditioning, you go, okay, I'm now going to do 5 days a week or whatever. That takes a hell of a lot of determination and self-discipline. So yeah, I'm not sure how I'd negotiate that in the future with myself, because I'd have to go, right, well, you have to do this.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, see what happens. See where it goes. Is there anything about health or wellness or fitness or anything that you would like to see get in the bin?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, something like anything that purports to being a health food that's really full of rubbish. Like Rachel's yogurt is one of them. It's like 0% fat. Oh, really? And then you look at it, 24 grams of sugar. So what annoys me about that is it's trying to sell to the consumer that they will get healthy eating it.
Yeah.
They may as well have had a freaking Mars bar and just enjoyed it.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yes.
There's always the way, and there's so much stuff like that. When you're like
gluten-free. I don't understand this. Gluten-free is like everyone's thinking, oh, I got to have gluten-free. It's like I knew someone who's a celiac, and he was like, don't eat gluten. If you can handle gluten, eat it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's no benefit to having gluten-free. So,
I think we mentioned that on an episode.
Yes,
we did an episode on that because we had it came up. A couple of friends of ours were like, of mine were saying that they were gluten's bad for you, and I was like, no. Gluten is bad for you if you have a condition that can't handle gluten. Like in the same way that if you have an intolerance to anything, that thing is bad for you. Like, but other than that,
but it's the same with the environment thing. You know, I know people have invested. It's the same principle. I'm trying to do right, and by doing right, I'm doing worse. So there's like a couple who bought an old house and they made it into passive house status, and they look back at their carbon footprint of what it took for those materials to make it a passive house. And they're like, we would have been better off doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And for 20 years, just living in that house with a gas boiler. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to buy that's why I don't buy a brand new electric car. Because I'm like, I don't know how much it's taken to bring that into existence. Am I better off just having an 8-year-old car that already is here? The same with my house. I'm like, oh, I could put steel in here and I could do, and I think, oh, the best thing for your environment is to do nothing, right? I'm going to put solar panels on it. I was like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
That's free power. But even that, my dad's like, well, you know, how long is it going to be? You know, what's going to happen to all these panels in 20 years? And they're all going to be on a scrap heap somewhere. So like, oh, I don't know what to do. Right.
There's a downside
food,
to everything.
But I do think food is the easiest option. And, you know, if you want to, you know, make a difference to the planet or, you know, and your own health, I think food is the best way. Big agriculture is a massive contributor to global warming. So that's why I've cut out as much meat as I can. And I'll have turkey at Christmas. And if you cook me a beef stroganoff, you know, if I came around, I wouldn't refuse it. But as a consumer, I'm trying not to, I'm trying not to, you know, not to consume it. And again, like eating, you know, like these health foods that are nonsense. You know, you've got to just read through some of the bull.
It's like a protein Mars bar.
Oh, God, that is ridiculous.
They sell these, right, where you get like Mars bar, but like protein. You're like, if I was worried about the protein, I'd be picking up some cooked chicken.
Yeah.
Like, or 2 eggs in a pot that are there. Like having a Mars bar with and it's always like they put protein on it. It's got higher protein than the usual one. It doesn't mean that it's high protein.
That's it. Like Ramesh Ranganathan always says, he says, how can you be such a fat vegan? He's like, I'm not a healthy vegan. It's not a ticket to health. You know, I eat badly.
Well, Oreos are the secret, aren't they?
Are they vegan?
They're vegan, yeah.
And they're like, it's about 800 calories if you eat a whole packet of Oreos. 800 and something.
That feels about right.
It's so easy as well, isn't it?
So easy.
There is no way I'm opening a packet of Oreos and not eating the entire thing. So I just don't buy them.
Fair.
For the most part.
I'm like that with chocolate fingers. My God.
Yeah, you go, there's not that many of them. They're like, oh,
there's Ben and Jerry tubs. I was like, oh, I'll just have a bit of cookie dough.
Yeah.
And then I'm at the bottom of the damn thing and I'm like, oh, you did it, didn't you?
Yeah,
it's gone.
It's crazy how easy to consume it is.
Yeah.
And on a different note, do you have any advice to somebody who might just be interesting? That's not a word. Entering the industry right now.
Get on TikTok.
Get on TikTok.
It's hard, isn't it? They always say youth is wasted on the young. You know, would I have gone back to myself and said, don't have that drink, you're on. You know, you're on as this main part. Like, it means something. You know, it could have implications for, you know, for your career. So treat it a bit seriously. But I don't know whether I would. It's it's so difficult because I don't think anyone would listen to. I wouldn't listen to me anyway. You know, I'd probably go, oh, you know, granddad.
Yeah.
What do you know? You know.
There's probably someone somewhere who was like, I told you not to have that drink at the time. And you'd be like, I didn't pay attention.
God, it's a good question. Because, you know, do I want... but imagine how amazing I would have been at 23 doing this. I mean, I would have been unstoppable. But what would I have done? You know, I couldn't be Mrs Doubtfire. I was too young. Yeah, you've stumped me, really.
Well, you've actually given plenty of advice earlier on.
Well, look, I mean, one of the best things I can say is if you're an actor or, performer, what Mark Rylance says, who's he's lacking in talent, obviously. But he says, you are enough. Those 3 simple words, like we're all a unique product. And it's just a trust in that. There's always people a bit like you at drama school or something, but, it will come good, and sort of celebrate that and push what you're really, really good at. Because, that will see you through. That's seen me through and got me to finally this wonderful place where I am playing a role that was designed for me. And, and trust that it can be there. Just push what you're good at, I think, and celebrate that rather than trying to be something that you're not.
Done.
Love it.
Now, without changing your expression or giving away whether you were successful or not, we're going to try and guess what we think the lie was.
Yeah, it was in there.
So he has lied.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I think.
Are you going first or am I going first?
I've been first for a long while, so you go.
Okay, I'm going to go with the football story.
That is what I was going to do. So how specific are you going to go?
I just don't think that happened.
All of it.
Well, the football story of him coming to the football field and then telling you to get back to church.
Damn, that is exactly
that's
what I
the
would
one.
have chosen.
I think that's the lie.
Damn. In that case, I'm going to have to choose something else.
My other option was the Cameron McIntosh story, but then you've kind of gone back to it just now.
And so not have a drink.
So I was like, oh.
Maybe it wasn't Cameron himself. In which case I'll go with that because I don't have one. So I'll say maybe it wasn't Cameron himself who did that. But I think it's the same as you. Hit us with it.
Damn, you're both right. Yeah. I'm a rubbish actor, aren't I? I over-explained it, you see. I was like, it was a free kick and then it was I mean, the trick, I was cheating a bit because I did play football and I did shout my head off, but he never came to the football field. He's got better things to do. Track down where an undergrad is.
Hunting you down.
I kind of loved it.
Yeah, it was. I kind of hoped
but
it was true.
But he was scary and he did
bet.
stop that choir and he did humiliate me in front of them.
I bet.
It's one of those sort of whiplash moments.
I didn't mention it. We had a very similar, I came up through choirs and stuff like that as well. And terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to start
Get the old hymn book thrown at you.
Right, should we play another game?
Yes.
We're going to play a game.
Oh, I'm really annoyed you got that. No, I've had enough of the
I
game.
don't want to play games. It's going to be a game of this or that. It's going to be a 1 minute lightning round a la Friends.
Oh, God, here we go.
Steffan, I'll give you 2 options. You got to pick one. You got 1 minute on the clock. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Eggs or bacon?
Eggs.
White bread or brown bread?
Brown.
The US office or Friends?
US office.
Cardio or resistance training?
Resistance?
McDonald's or Burger King?
Neither. You
Singing or acting?
Triple threat.
Mrs Doubtfire or Daniel Hillard?
Doubtfire.
Yoga or Pilates?
Yoga.
Family Guy or Love Island?
Family Guy.
Domino's Pizza or Papa John's?
Neither.
Sport or dance?
Sport is dance is a sport.
Okay. Alcohol or chocolate?
Sport though.
Matching socks or
sorry, alcohol. I'm one behind now. This is like the 2 Ronnies.
Alcohol or chocolate?
Alcohol.
Matching socks or mismatching socks?
Matching.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Is the internet for porn or everything else?
Porn.
Game of Thrones or Glee?
Thrones.
Book or Kindle?
Book.
Clean shaven or beard?
Depends on the amount of work.
Personal chef or personal stylist?
Stylist.
Guitar or piano?
Piano.
Sexy body or sexy mind?
Mind.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Do you hear the people sing or the sensitive song?
Sensitive.
Dogs or babies?
Babies.
Snakes or badgers?
Badgers? No, they'll give me tuberculosis.
Theme park or water park?
Theme park.
Running or walking?
Running.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Bobby or Steffan?
Bobby.
That was fantastic.
I mean,
1 minute 19, so we're well over.
We were over. However, some fantastic answers in there.
Snakes or badgers. Like, actually, badgers will give me TB.
Yeah.
Do I fancy my chances against? I'm
Depends on the
less
snake.
likely to meet a snake, aren't I, in the UK than I am a badger.
True.
Who are you going to take on in combat, though? Badger or snake?
It depends on the
They
snake,
got
right?
some big claws then.
A badger will mess you up.
Isn't it the badger that will hold your arm until they hear it break? Feel it break. I'm fairly certain that's true.
That is the lie. For me, that's the line.
I really hope that's
Right,
You guys should start lying, by the way. Can you not drop in some like really bad advice in the middle of your podcast? See if they pick up on it. So yeah, I find waking up at 3 a.m. and doing a quick run helps.
Yeah. I love that the image that comes up is the badger.
It was, wasn't it? I'm desperately trying to...
I love that you said that it waits until it can hear your bones snap.
Yeah, because they can feel it. So they know they're not saying.
Such a conscious thing. Yeah. There it is.
It's like, basically, what I'm hearing here is do not mess with a badger because they will break your leg and beat you with it, is that exact sentence.
And then give you TB.
Yeah,
and then give
just
you TB.
as the bonus.
But yeah, in general, that was something,
bonus
I
TB.
remember reading that when I was a kid, and I've Googled it since and just re-Googled now, but they have like this, almost like a self-defense thing where they have amazing grip and they'll sort of crush whatever bone it is until they hear or feel, I can't remember which one it is, it snap and they'll run away. So I don't know, snake or badger, up to you. After your training regime though, Gabriel, I'm pretty sure you could take on both.
I'll give it a go, yeah.
Now that is an MMA fight I want to see.
Snake and a badger and Gabriel in a bit.
No, in Mrs Doubtfire costume. Like fighting a snake and a badger.
Perfect.
They're not both against you, it's like a triple threat wrestling.
Oh, okay, great.
Steel chairs are allowed.
Fine, good.
Well, Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a
I've
joy.
enjoyed it very much.
And if you're listening to this, go and see Gabriel in Mrs Doubtfire in the West End.
Yeah, do it. It's glorious.
And thank you at home or wherever you might be for listening.
Absolutely. And if you've enjoyed this episode, click those like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Instagram at fit2_talk. As always, if you've got any questions you want answered, slide into those DMs. I'll be in there wrestling a badger.
Yeah, it's with broken bones now. Thanks again for listening.
The sound of my bones snapping.
And if you like what you've heard, we've been Fit2 Talk with our wonderful guest, Gabriel Vick, me, Steffan.
And me, Bobby. And if you didn't like it, we've been Joe Wicks. Peace out.